All right, so let's keep going. All right, so some tag basics. Comments in visualforce pages are identified by open angle bracket, exclamation, then dash dash, and then they are closed by dash dash angle bracket. In other words, the same way that you do HTML comments. Otherwise, any text that you write within your visualforce page, much like HTML, would just simply be displayed to the end user. Okay? You can also incorporate, because our page can include standard HTML, well, one of the standard HTML tags is the script tag. We can include JavaScript within our visualforce pages. Okay? Visualforce markup, it must be well formed. What does that mean? Well, it means that every start tag must have an end tag unless it is a self-contained tag. Okay? In addition, if we're nesting tags, we must nest them in the same order. In other words, the outer tag cannot finish before the inner tag has finished. All of our visualforce tags start with apex colon. All of your pages will be enclosed within apex page tags. Tags are further refined by attributes, okay, just like in HTML. Here's some examples. So we have our apex page. It has an attribute. We have a good comment. We have a comment in Apex or Java-oriented comment, and that's simply just going to display. Then we have a level 1 header. A level 1 header is some standard HTML, and then we have just some text. That text would display. And then finally, at the very end, we have our close tag for our page. Okay?
So why did we write so much things to just say hello world?
What was that again?
We could just write hello world without any codes, I think, because it will write it, right?
Oh yeah, we didn't need to surround it with the bold tags. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
In our case, we surrounded it
effect, right?
Yeah, it was bold.
bold.
So it was bold and it had an exclamation point.
So what are the other self-contained tags other than the
An input field, a page block section item can be, you know, there's a whole bunch. Remember, there's 65 standard tags, so there's a whole bunch of them that are self-contained. So.
Does that mean that when you say the P right here, that's
that's in HTML. That's a paragraph tag.
Does that mean that it's a new so it's just to make
yeah, it inserts, I think, a paragraph. It's not a character, but it inserts a paragraph. Yeah, I always thought that maybe paragraph tags now support being self-contained. I always thought you were supposed to have a paragraph, a starting paragraph and an ending paragraph. But in this case, maybe it also supports, I don't know, maybe paragraph tags also support self-contained. Then it seems like it would just be a line break. But
yeah, probably it's just a line break.
Yeah. All right, tag bindings. All right, so we can do data binding, action binding, and component binding. Data binding is what we're seeing here. So this is that one where we have object.field. So we are binding to some data to insert it into the page or provide the user with a web control so that they can then update. All right. So this is the old discussion about the _C and the _R. All right. Now, if we want to traverse, so much like if you remember back to our formula fields, we were able to traverse up to parent records using that syntax. Well, one of the things that we could do in one of our visualforce pages is we could do, let me go back to my page just to show you. So one of the things that we can do is our controllers, our standard controllers, give us the ability, much like a formula field, to access a value in a parent related object. So what I can do is I can come in here and do position _c dot hiring manager. Remember, every position has our hiring manager, _r dot, and then on the hiring manager there is the first name field. All right. So I could do something like this, and then what this is going to do, oh, I should have put it, let me put it up here, or let me move these. All right, so in this case, the hiring manager for benefits specialist number 2 is Megan. And so using the _R syntax, I can reference the hiring, related objects and go out and get those. Now the difference here that I want to point out is that when we're doing it here, notice that we always start with the current object. In our formula field, you just started with hiring manager _R. Okay, it's a little bit different here, but you can do the same thing. Okay.
So if this director start writing with hiring manager, it wouldn't accept it?
If, sorry, what was that again?
If we didn't write the position C at the beginning, it wouldn't accept it. Right?
Yeah, so this is not good. So even though this would work in a formula field, it says, I don't know what you're referring to. So it needs to know, essentially, it needs to know that you're referring to, this is, I can find the hiring manager off of the position.
So you have to create things, the complete context.
Yeah, and when, if you create a custom controller, you can define your own custom variables that do not have a context, which is in reference to the current object. And so if I wanted to, I could create a variable that happened to be called hiring manager and then reference that. So what by putting position _C first, what we're saying is use my object that I'm, my current standard object that I'm, or not standard object, but.
Can you just delete position C but leave the dot there? Have you ever tried it?
Just delete position _C? Like that?
Yeah. What the? Not okay.
It doesn't use this.
No.
And this is a
So, all right. All right, so we can use that _R syntax to reference related objects. So the name of the field is _C. But when we want to then traverse over to the parent object, we use _R.
It's _C when it's the custom object.
When it's a custom object, we use yes. So if it's a standard object, we would just say account or contact or whatever. There is no _R. All right, so most of the time, like I said, we do that curly brace exclamation object dot property. There are a bunch of other global variables that are available. So we can also, if we have a long expression, we can create an apex variable, and that creates an alias. So if you get tired of typing in, position _C dot hiring manager, you could create a variable which is an alias and just call it HR, and then you could just simply in your expression syntax do HR dot, and then you're local to that hiring manager. It's a little bit of a typing saver. So. All right, here's some binding examples. So here we're saying hello, Chris, and then, well, or different in your case. And then here we're viewing this. In this case, this is associated with the standard controller for an account. And then I'll show you the page block table later, but here we're referring to a related list of accounts. I'm sorry, a related list of contacts from the account. And we're setting up this temporary var which represents each contact, and then we're displaying the name, the mailing city, and the phone. But this is all examples of data binding. Okay. There's also action binding. Action binding is used in buttons and links, and what we can do is we can associate a behavior so that when the user clicks on whatever that is, it'll then perform that action. In other words, call the method up on the server to perform that action.
Is that what you do with the up when you do the command line, the update, and you gave it the save action?
Yeah, the command button with the action equals save. Exactly. So notice that we surrounded that in the curly brace exclamation. So that's called action binding. You can create in a custom controller or a controller extension, you could create your own custom actions and then refer to them using curly brace exclamation. There's also component binding. So John, you were asking about, can I use an ID and then refer to that ID? So we can do that either within JavaScript, or we can do that within the context of visualforce. You could associate an ID, which would be referenceable in the document object model. And then in your visualforce page, you can do something called component binding to reference that other thing. In addition, you could use that ID, like I said, in a JavaScript script, and then refer to that thing. Here's an example, and we're doing some component binding, and what we have is in our visualforce page, we have something, and we're going to refer to it, and that $ component and then dot the panel allows us to essentially obtain a reference to whatever that thing is. Okay, in this case, see how there's the, at the bottom it says output panel IDE equals the panel. So we were able to call a JavaScript function in this case and pass a reference to that particular ID, or the ID of that component. Okay. All right, so there's an exercise 2-1. Let me just explain this. So this is a visualforce page which is a little bit different than other pages that you've seen. All right, here is the page. Here's the page that we are going to create, or we're going to complete this page in the lab exercise. Now this is going to be one of those that you work on your own as opposed to me walking you through it, but I'm going to kind of show you some stuff. So this exercise is going to be all about data binding, but there's some things that make this a little bit different. So this is the visualforce page that we're going to create. Now, what do you notice that's different about this visualforce page? It's a PDF, yeah. We don't have to render our visualforce pages as HTML. We can actually render our visualforce page as a PDF. All right. So if I click on the page editor down here, there is one particular attribute that is making this happen. Associated with our page tag is a render as attribute, and we've set render as equal to PDF. Okay? It's as simple as that. But there's Mafia lock-in. No.
Once you do that, you cannot go back to HTML. Everything becomes PDF.
That's not true. So see, I can remove the render as, and here it is as HTML. Okay? So all I need to do is say render as equals PDF. And then there we go. All right.
Can you say render as something else?
No.
Or just PDF?
Yeah, just PDF. So
Render as doc, render as example.
no.
No, so only PDF. Right.
You can create links to docs.
Did you say render as a link?
All right, and what you're going to end up doing in this lab exercise is completing a bunch of references to all these data bindings. Now these ones are going to be challenging because notice that from the offer we link to the job application, then we link to the candidate, and then we display the candidate's first name. So these ones, like I said, they're a little bit challenging because we're not just saying, hey, just display this field on the current object. We're saying go out and navigate, traverse up 2 objects, and then get a field. So, all right. Now, in the instructions, it references the exercises folder. And the place where you can find that is on your C drive now, assuming that you actually, unfortunately it was in that dev401 directory. So go ahead and copy that dev511 directory to your C drive if you didn't already do that. But within this dev511 directory, you'll find an exercises and a solutions folder.
Use that USB key. I
you
deleted
need
the
it?
directory. I didn't
Oh,
think we
all right.
needed it.
No worries. If you need to copy it again, I can help you out with that. So what it's going to say is it's going to say go out to the exercises folder and take the contents of, for instance, the offer PDF page, and take the contents of this and paste it into your page, your visualforce page. And what you're going to do is you're going to see a bunch of to-dos. So see how it says to-do. Add the candidate's first and last name. Okay? So we're going to write the data binding syntax to do that. And then there's also one down here. To do these exercises, here's what I recommend that you do. Go through it and start by doing a Control F and do a search for to do, and then that'll help you locate where you need to update these, and then just keep going through these. Now another advice, so if you really want to be quick, there's a solutions folder. All right. So yeah, so that's the super efficient mechanism or way of doing it. But sometimes you need a little inspiration, and so if you get stuck, don't spend more than 5 minutes struggling on one thing. Go out and take a look at the solution and see what they did in order to complete the exercise, because you don't want to spend 15 minutes on one thing. Okay.
Can we copy this, by the way, these directories?
Yeah, if you want to take it home or whatever. Yeah, sure. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, there's not we don't limit you in terms of that.
For more information on Salesforce.com training and certification, please visit www.salesforce.com/training.